Most people think that love means giving everything. No limits. No holding back. Full availability. Total sacrifice. And if you need space, or if something bothers you, or if you need to say no to someone you love, well, that must mean you do not love them enough. This belief is everywhere. In the movies we grew up watching. In the songs we know by heart. In the way romantic love is described as losing yourself in another person. But here is what that belief actually produces in real life. Resentment. Exhaustion. A slow and quiet loss of yourself. Because relationships without boundaries do not become deeper. They become harder. Not because the love is not real, but because two people cannot truly connect if one of them keeps disappearing. This video is about what healthy boundaries look like in relationships. Not walls. Not distance. Something more subtle and more important than both. Let us start with a word many people have heard but not fully understood. Codependency. Codependency is a pattern where one person's sense of self becomes wrapped around another person. Their mood depends on the other person's mood. Their worth depends on being needed. Their identity depends on managing the other person's feelings, problems, or life. This looks like love from the outside. It can feel like love from the inside. But it is not love. It is need disguised as love. The codependent person is not giving freely. They are giving to manage their own anxiety. To feel safe. To feel valuable. To avoid the discomfort of someone they love being unhappy. Think about what that actually looks like in daily life. Your partner is in a bad mood. You immediately feel responsible. You work to fix it. You change your own behavior to make them feel better. And when it works, you feel relieved. Not happy. Relieved. Because the threat has passed. That is not care. That is anxiety management. Or perhaps you never say what you actually want. You go where they want to go. You watch what they want to watch. You shape yourself around their preferences so completely that after a while, you genuinely do not know what you prefer anymore. Or maybe you stay in situations that cost you significantly because leaving feels impossible. Not because you do not see the problem, but because your sense of self has become so tangled with the other person that the idea of separation feels like the end of you. These are all forms of codependency. And they cost both people. The giver becomes exhausted and resentful. The receiver never fully grows because someone is always absorbing the consequences of their behavior. Both people are trapped. But the trap feels like closeness. Psychologists describe the opposite of codependency as interdependence. Interdependence is the healthy middle ground between two extremes. On one end is full independence. I do not need anyone. I keep everyone at a distance. I handle everything alone. This looks strong. But it closes off real intimacy. On the other end is codependency. I cannot function without you. Your feelings are my responsibility. I have no self outside of this relationship. Interdependence sits between those. Two people who genuinely support each other. Who can lean on each other. Who care deeply. And who also maintain their own identity, their own needs, their own separate life. Research on couples found that partners who can depend on each other while also preserving their individual autonomy report higher well-being. both together and as individuals. The paradox is this. The more securely you can depend on someone, the freer you actually feel. Because the relationship is not a cage. It is a place you return to and leave from, with both movements feeling safe. That freedom requires boundaries. Not to keep love out. To keep the relationship honest. So what do boundaries in a relationship actually look like? The first thing they look like is knowing what is yours to feel and what is not. When someone you love is upset, it is natural to feel something. Care. Concern. A wish to help. But there is a difference between feeling with someone and feeling for them. Between being moved by their pain and absorbing it as your own. When you absorb someone else's emotions as if they were yours, you lose the ability to actually help them. Because you are no longer a separate, grounded person responding to them. You are just another person drowning. A boundary here does not mean not caring. It means staying connected to yourself while staying connected to them. It means you can hold their hand while their house is on fire without setting your own house on fire to prove you care. The second thing relationship boundaries look like is being honest about your own needs. Many people in relationships have needs they never express. They hope the other person will notice. Or they tell themselves their needs do not matter as much. Or they feel guilty for having them at all. So they stay quiet. They adjust. They accommodate. They make themselves easier to be with. And for a while, this works. The relationship stays smooth. No conflict. No friction. But unexpressed needs do not disappear. They become expectations. Quiet ones. The kind that never get spoken but are somehow expected to be met. And when they are not met, because how could they be, the person does not feel disappointed. They feel hurt. Betrayed. As if the other person should have known. But they could not have known. Because nothing was said. Unmet expectations become resentment. And resentment is the clearest signal that a boundary was missing. Not necessarily because the other person did something wrong. Often because something you wanted was never asked for. Something you needed was never said out loud. Speaking your needs is an act of respect. For yourself. And for the person who loves you. Because they cannot honor what they do not know is there. And expecting someone to read your mind is not fair to either of you. When you say what you actually need, you give the relationship a real chance. A chance to meet you where you are. Not the edited version. The actual you. That is where genuine closeness begins. The third thing relationship boundaries look like is maintaining a self outside the relationship. Your friendships. Your interests. Your time alone. Your sense of who you are when the relationship is not in the room. Some people give all of this up when they enter a relationship. Slowly at first. Then more completely. Until one day the relationship is the whole of their identity. This creates a specific kind of pressure. Because one relationship cannot carry the weight of an entire self. When your partner becomes your only source of meaning, connection, and validation, the relationship starts to buckle. Not because love is not enough. But because that is too much to ask of any single person. Maintaining a life outside the relationship is not a sign of less commitment. It is what makes you someone interesting to come back to. Someone who brings something new to the table instead of only mirroring what is already there. The fourth thing relationship boundaries look like is the ability to disagree without the relationship feeling threatened. In relationships without clear boundaries, conflict becomes dangerous. Because if you have no separate self, any challenge to your view feels like a challenge to your existence. So you avoid disagreement. You smooth things over. You pretend to agree when you do not. But the things that go unsaid do not go away. They accumulate. They show up later, sideways, in ways that are harder to manage than the original conversation would have been. Healthy relationships are ones where two people can disagree, feel frustrated, say hard things, and still know the relationship is okay. That safety to be honest is what makes trust real. Not the absence of conflict. The ability to survive it. Now let us talk about something harder. What happens when someone consistently does not respect your limits? This is different from someone who needs time to adjust to a boundary they were not expecting. That is normal. That takes patience. This is about someone who, after being told clearly what you need, continues to cross that line. Repeatedly. Without real change. That pattern is important information. It tells you that this person either cannot or will not hold space for your needs alongside their own. And that is a fundamental incompatibility. Not a character judgment. Not a reason to hate them. But a real and important thing to see clearly. Because you cannot build a healthy relationship with someone who does not have room for your limits. No matter how much you love them. No matter how much you try. Love is not enough on its own. Love needs to be accompanied by respect. And respect includes taking seriously what another person says they need. There is also the question of what to do when you have not had clear limits in a relationship for a long time. The person you are with has become used to the old pattern. The one where you always said yes. Always adjusted. Always made yourself smaller. When you start changing that, it will feel disruptive. To them and to you. They may respond with confusion. Or hurt. Or pressure to go back to how things were. This is expected. It does not mean you are doing something wrong. What it means is that the relationship is being renegotiated. And renegotiation is uncomfortable. But it is also how relationships grow into something more honest and more sustainable. There may be a period where things feel less stable. Where old patterns try to reassert themselves. Where the other person does not immediately understand what you need or why. That period requires patience. And communication. And the willingness to keep showing up even when it is messy. But it is worth it. Because what comes out the other side, when both people make the effort, is something more real than what existed before. The relationships that survive this process tend to become deeper. Because now they are built on something real. On two people who actually know each other. Who have seen the honest version of each other and chosen to stay. That is worth the discomfort of the transition. Here is what healthy love actually looks like with boundaries in place. Two people who care about each other. Who say what they need. Who hear what the other needs. Who sometimes disappoint each other and repair it. Who maintain their own lives and bring those lives into the relationship. Who can be close without losing themselves. Who can be apart without the relationship feeling threatened. Not perfect. Not without difficulty. But honest. And free. Because boundaries are not the opposite of love. They are what love looks like when it is healthy. They are the conditions under which two people can actually see each other, know each other, and choose each other. Not from need. From genuine wanting. That is the difference. I hope this video brought you something meaningful. If you find it helpful, please like and share it with someone who may need it. Subscribe if you would like to hear more stories like this. Wishing you a calm and peaceful day.